Okay. Good evening. My name is Robert St. Clair. I'm the planner for the city of Cannon Beach. I'm going to be starting this meeting because we do not currently have a chair or a vice chair. That will be one of our first orders of business. But there are two items on the agenda for the DRB to go through first. The first will be approval of the agenda, and then the second will be consideration of minutes. Both of those can be handled through motions and seconds made by members of the board. And then after that, we will move on to the election of officers.
I'll move to approve the agenda.
Second.
And then Emily, if you could do a roll.
Well,
Oh, let me print it out. We don't normally do a roll in this one.
I,
Let me. Got it. Okay. Michelle?
Here.
Olivia?
Yes.
Dave?
Hello.
Jennifer?
Here.
And Harvey?
Yes.
Perfect.
And then if any member wishes to make a motion for consideration of minutes from the November meeting.
Motion to approve the minutes.
Oh, yes, I thought we just did that.
The agenda. Motion to
Oh, the agenda, the minutes. Yes, second that.
know what we're doing. We got this.
Okay, well, if the minutes are approved, then moving into election of officers, we have to select both a chair and a vice chair. We're in a situation where we were left without either.
Is Mike no longer with us, I'm assuming?
Yes, he is out. And Alicia Blaylock was chair, but she resigned, and Mike then resumed the role of chair, and then he turned out.
Okay. And Harvey is a new member?
Correct.
Okay, I don't think I've ever met him. Hello, Harvey.
Hi, Dave. Hi, Dave. You. If I may speak for a moment, I'd be present. I didn't realize that that you were also gathering at the city hall.
That's
Next
fine.
time.
I would be there, but I'm on the tail end of a 3.5 week cold, so I
Oh,
don't want to have to interrupt things by coughing and hacking. So what's next?
Well, that would be for the board to,
chair of this.
Who did decide who's the chair and the vice?
so Dave, that chair, right? Would you like to be chair?
I will
Um,
nominate David as chair for the design review board. Second.
I'll
Second.
admit, I've been there the longest of all of you, but I'm not sure that I'm public speaking oriented. But if nobody else wants it, I guess I'll accept the nomination.
Very good.
Nominated.
Here we go.
Vice chair?
Oh, did we vote? Did we say yes then? Or yay? Aye.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm moving it along.
Hi.
We all say yes. Okay.
Dave's definitely been here the longest, so that works.
I'm looking at a little screen here that I can't really tell who all is actually there.
so here in the city hall, we have Anita, Jen, and Michelle.
Okay. In that order from left to right?
Correct.
Okay, that's what I would have guessed, but I wasn't sure.
All right.
Vice Chair.
Well, that it would be you next because you've been here longest.
What does that require?
Largely, it would be filling in for the chair when he's absent.
That
Okay.
means tonight.
Oh, geez. Michelle, any interest?
I'm a
Chair?
terrible public reader. But you are also
My-
on. a
My
lot.
attendance is
Yeah.
skeptical.
So it's up to you, I would say.
I nominate you to be.
I nominate
chair.
you.
Second.
Yeah,
You second both of the nominations.
your nomination.
I think Anita might be a good choice because she has a lot of background with the city, having worked in several other capacities.
No, that might be a good choice.
It could be a great choice. I believe in everyone's capabilities here.
Right. I do too.
Ooh,
I think,
did we just all nominate each other?
pretty much.
I think I nominate Anita.
I'd second that. If that's appropriate.
What do you say?
Second.
Yes,
You know,
I feel good about
I
that.
feel good about that too.
All right.
We nominate Anita.
You.
Vice Chair.
Thank you.
The railroad has spoken.
So who did the second? We both nominated.
Oh,
He seconded.
second, Dave did. Yep.
That was such a girl move to nominate each other.
Round robin.
It was sweet.
Okay,
Okay.
if everybody's okay with this, since Anita is in person, do we want to have her run the rest of the meeting, or would you prefer to do that, Dave?
I would prefer to have her do it because I don't have the cheat sheets or anything that normally the chair would have. So I'd be stumbling along.
Well. All right, I shall stumble. For you.
Thank you.
Ah, dear. Oh, dear. All right, so we've called to order action privilege and extermination, election officers.
We're just moving into our only public hearing for the night.
Great.
And this is a quasi judicial hearing regarding DRB 23-01, Karen Labonte, applicant on behalf of the city of Cannon Beach, application for the remodel of the Midtown Public Restrooms. The property is owned by the city of Cannon Beach and is located in the Coolidge Street right-of-way adjacent to 1188 and 1216 South Hemlock Street, tax lots 10400 and 10700, map 51030 AD. In a limited commercial C1 zone. The application will be reviewed against the criteria of Municipal Code, Chapter 17.44.080-17.44.100, Design Review Criteria. Does anyone object to the jurisdiction of the Design Review Board to hear this matter at this time? Does any commission member believe he or she has a conflict of interest or personal bias? Has any commission member had any ex parte contacts or made a site visit?
Site visit.
Site visit.
And I would now ask for the staff report.
Thank you. Excuse me. So the proposed project is the expansion of the existing public bathroom in the Coolidge Street public right-of-way adjacent to 1186 South Hemlock Street that serves the Midtown area. This is the public bathroom that is immediately across the street from City Hall, just right over there. The existing facility measures approximately 30 by 16 feet. And the new addition would add an additional 28 by 14 foot area and be attached to the eastern wall of the existing facility. The expansion is intended to provide additional capacity, especially during peak tourist season, and allow for the provision of service when a restroom needs to be closed for cleaning or maintenance work. So moving into the criteria, the first one is the site design evaluation criteria. And the existing restroom is located in that undeveloped right-of-way. This expansion would be constructed in a currently landscaped portion of the area between the existing building and an ADA accessible parking space accessed from Hemlock Street. The parking space, its loading area, and the footpath running along the northern portion of the site would be unaffected by the proposal. Moving into architectural and design evaluation criteria. The proposed expansion, a rectangular facility with 2 restrooms and a foot wash station. The structure will be sided with cedar shingles similar to the existing facility and have matching composition roofing. Upon completion, the northern wall will have a visible offset between the existing and the new sections, which will reduce the potential for a monolithic appearance and help the structure better fit into the space available for the expansion. And then moving into landscape design evaluation. The landscaping plan indicates changes including the removal of a coastal pine, the root system of which may impact a water line serving the restroom facility. The landscaping plan does not indicate that this tree will be replaced, and there will be no apparent location on the site where one can be placed. Condition of approval number 2 with this staff report would require the city to replace this tree at a different location within city limits. Non-residential uses require that 20% of the site be reserved for landscaping, which includes benches, walkways, outdoor seating areas, and living plant materials. And no less than 50% of the total square footage reserved for landscaping shall consist of living plants. Assuming that the work area is approximately 2,600 square feet, the required square footage to satisfy this requirement is 260. The landscaping plan indicates that 4 hydrangeas will be planted along the western wall of the existing building and an additional 2 planted on the eastern wall of the extension. Additionally, lawn will be planted along the eastern, southern, and western portions of the building. The remaining landscaping will consist of sidewalks and gravel paths. And that concludes the staff report.
Thank you. All right, so I've not done this before, so just bear with me.
Great.
This, as I hope I. All right, so I will call for public testimony. The pertinent criteria to be considered are noted in the staff reports and listed on the criteria sheets posted on the meeting page of the city's website. Testimony, arguments, and evidence must be directed toward that criterion or other criteria in the comprehensive plan or municipal code, which the person is testifying believes to apply to the decision. Failure to raise an issue accompanied by statements or evidence sufficient to afford the decision maker and the parties an opportunity to respond to the issue precludes appeal based on that issue.
Good job.
All this has to be read before. Okay. All right. Prior to the conclusion of the initial evidentiary hearing, any participant may request an opportunity to present additional testimony, arguments, or evidence regarding the application. The Design Review Board shall grant such request by continuing the public hearing or leaving the record open for additional written testimony, arguments. Persons who testify shall first receive recognition from the chair, state their full name and mailing address, and if appearing in a representative capacity, identify whom they represent. Is there a presentation by the applicant? Thanks for being patient and waiting through all this.
So we were looking at this a couple different ways. Staff's original desire was to go up simply because of the critical infrastructure that's underground in that location that made the expansion as a single story quite risky. So we took 2 plans to the council and asked for direction from them with some estimated costs on both. Council agreed to the 2-story, so we begin to vet that project. We determined that the existing building was not sound enough to accept a second story. So we would have to do some retrofitting to be able to address that, which would have added a lot of cost to this project. And we weren't even sure it was possible for it to receive that second story even after that. So we diverted back to the single story. And that's what brings us here to you. The goal of this was to eliminate the porta potties that used to sit out there every single summer because Midtown area has grown and we've outgrown that bathroom. And so the goal was to increase the fixtures inside and eliminate those porta potties. During COVID, the city sustained quite a bit of damage, vandalism on the porta potties, and one of them was tipped over, putting our storm drain system at risk of contamination. So we stopped renting the porta potties and vigorously went after the funding to be able to do the remodel. So that was the objective of the project. Now that we're back to the single story, we're pretty limited on what we can do here because of we have a force main going through there. Our sewer storm system is going through there. We have multiple water lines going through there. So we're quite restrictive, as you can see with the plans. Talavana Architect did a really good job trying to give us as many additional fixtures as possible, sticking with that single story. And the design is as you see it. We did some flowering shrubs to be able to add some color in the summertime to the landscape so that we have seasonal beauty all year long. The green stays green and the summer you get the flowers. So we tried to strike that balance. Unfortunately, that tree does have to come out. If we were able to go up, we might have been able to avoid that. But since we're not and we have to work with the single story, there's no way to avoid that. So, questions on anything on the design?
Well, I have a couple questions. So there's is that like a little pump station or something that's to the west of the bathrooms there?
That's our second largest pump station in the community of Cannon Beach. Yes.
Are there plans to improve that as far as the TSP or any future projects with Public Works to improve that would help?
4 years ago, we
Bathroom
made
there.
improvement of that pump station. And so there's no additional plans at this time. The transportation plan wouldn't have anything to do with the pump station,
Okay.
but we don't have any additional plans at this time to make any modifications on that.
Okay, not within Public Works or projects,
Um,
Or-
Public Arts
no,
for,
Public Works
oh,
projects.
for that
Master
pump
plan.
station?
Yeah, are there any plans there for?
Not at this time. We have other pump stations we'll be doing
So that one's.
improvements to, but
And-
that one was already addressed 4 years ago.
Right, good. And is there a budget for the bathroom remodel?
Yes, we were approved with council and the budget committee to do this project this year. So that's why we're trying to get it as finished as so we can get it out to contract.
Do we get to know what that,
I'm sorry.
do we get to know what that amount is that's budgeted for this bathroom?
Sure. Yeah. I'll grab my budget book if you'll excuse me for a minute. I'll tell you what the dollar amount is.
Okay. No, I'm asking all the questions. I don't mean.
I have 1,000 questions.
Good question.
So please feel free to. Yeah,
I don't think the cost is really within our purview at this point, but it's an interesting
Well-
question.
but if I want gold sinks or something, Dave, I mean, wouldn't we want to know we can.
No, you don't get to approve anything inside the building. Sorry.
That's why I'm the vice, okay, and you're the chair.
No.
To answer your question is 250,000. That's what's been approved for this.
Okay, all right. And so doing something to upgrade the interior of the bathrooms and maybe
Yeah, so
standing rather than just adding a men's and a women's. And it seems like you're taking out all the green space.
So the,
I was also wondering about if we could move that ADA parking space to the west side of the building. It doesn't seem like it's a very safe backing out on the hill.
I agree with you. There's a spot behind that.
so the
It's a
ADA slot is a requirement of us, of our ADA audit that we've had a number of years ago, so we don't.
Does it have to be there?
I'm sorry.
Does it have to be there?
It's my understanding that that has to be at the entrance of the bathroom.
Because there's behind on the west side,
Yeah.
there's a whole chunk
There's a whole
space
parallel spot.
that, like, I've cheated and parked there a few
I
times.
don't know if that would be ADA compliant.
Well, it could be.
Yeah, because that would rely on using the alleyway as a loading or unloading zone. And that probably wouldn't meet ADA.
You can take the hedge out, which is what is stated in the plan, and you need, I think it's 15 feet for a van accessible, 9 feet, and.
Yeah, typically, yeah, parking spaces are typically 9 by 18 and a loading space would be the same area being.
I almost took a tape measure over.
Visually, I mean, because I'm gonna come at this as a, artistic, sort of nice Cannon Beach bathroom upgrade.
Right.
And
Interior is going to have a really nice upgrade when we redo all the fixtures to be able to add new ones. They'll have the same fixtures that the council and budget committee allowed us to do at Les Shirley and the Second Street bathroom. And so all the stainless steel, low water consuming, automatic shut off, so somebody can't leave the water running, which we've experienced in past years, broken porcelain commodes and things like that. So those have been really significant in reducing our maintenance by having those. So that's what is planned in this bathroom. So they're all the same. So from a maintenance perspective, the parts are limited. They're all the same. They're all water conserving fixtures. And so it reduces the budget from a maintenance perspective. So they'll have all brand new fixtures, just like those two bathrooms.
The removal of the shore pine, that's necessary. Is it already messing with the plumbing of the existing bathrooms?
With the add-on.
With the add-on, is it like in the way or just hindering new plumbing? Is that?
Yeah, so to do the add-on and for the water line for the new add-on is what the issue is there.
Look at where I'm moving my mouse on the screen.
Mhm.
There is a existing water line indicated right there. And that would be within the root system of that shore pine.
So the question I have, and did you get the that I threw in before the article? That the additional article?
Yeah, Robert let me know about that.
Okay, yeah, I'm just wondering why we can't eliminate this men's side and have it just women's and then have it be just gender neutral or for whatever sake, family. I don't know why we need another men's and a women's. Why can't we just use that? These are just 4 toilets.
Mhm.
And then there's 1 toilet in the other one. And I don't know, I just feel like Cannon Beach is a destination for people around the world and we should be a little bit more progressive.
I hear you, and that came up in another committee meeting, and that would be a council decision instead of a public works decision. So if you want to make that recommendation, you'd be free to do that. That
Yeah.
is something that I would be able to dictate here in this form.
Yeah. Cause I feel like we're just adding a whole nother unnecessary addition with what we're calling the men's, when we could just have 4 more toilets.
Yeah, I think
Did you have a chance to read it was architects in Portland redesigned some high school and they're just individual non-gender stalls and
Like
it's,
anyone can use.
yeah.
Use.
Yeah, you don't have to say non-gender neutral, you just say restroom, like, and it's, anybody can use them. So I think that would be like, Cannon Beach set an example for how things should be inclusive.
Or just getting on point with the time.
Yeah.
Well, it's
I mean, the article I sent from 2016.
yeah, it's not setting an example, it's getting with the time. I think,
Yeah.
with having some gender fluid or just inclusive bathrooms. And I think something to think about is just the flow of traffic here. If we're gonna have 2 more bathrooms, it's gonna bring more congestion to that area. And if there is one that is anyone can use it, especially if it is family and groups want to go in, that leaves that open for those like people with children and they want to go in, and it doesn't matter if it's dad or mom or who's going in. I think it's a little bit more inclusive to families as well.
I think as far as how they're designated, that's something that you can give your recommendation to council. Again, I'm not in a position to be able to take that through this process.
Karen, do you think that the Tourist and Arts Council might have some funding that could be used, like to put some artistic design to the bathrooms?
We have the bench that was donated that will still remain at that location.
Oh, it is
Um,
in there.
And so we made sure that we have space for that. And that the landscape kind of complements that instead of just the old shrubs that have been there for years and kind of gotten out of shape. So I think it'll be a really nice improvement to that location.
I also think that it just, I'm just throwing this out here, but I've been thinking about it a lot and researching, just FYI. If we did lose this men's section, that could be lockers for people that have come in on the bus that can't afford a car and have a place, a lot of tourist destination have lockers for people to, I think that would be really, and
Interesting design.
yeah, but I just feel like this, another 2 restrooms, especially since it's just 1 toilet and 2 urinals, it seems excessive and not necessary. And
Mhm.
1 all-inclusive bathroom seems probably more cost effective too. I mean,
And then I'd really like to know about,
If you're asking me to have the architect redesign this so that we have 1 bathroom that is an all-inclusive and then everything else
I would love that.
that's an added cost. I'd have to go back to council and the budget committee and ask for the funding to be able to do a redesign from what was awarded to me for the architectural.
Sounds good to me.
yeah, and I'd like to see what it would take to move that ADA space to the west side. I just feel like there's room there and it would be a safer place for people to unload. You're not in the sidewalk and backing out into Hemlock. And then it sounded like, the bathrooms are just like right there and, just the whole, yeah, I mean, I would think that, yeah, people that are in a wheelchair, or something, they would like to have a little more privacy in the back there and loading and unloading.
I live across the street and I've never seen that.
What was the
used.
last?
Well,
Never seen that used. I know that that's whatever, but I'm curious because it does seem like that
It's
back.
not accessible.
the green
Yeah.
space and,
Yeah, have a little parklet would be beautiful. It's so hideous.
Yeah, I'd like Dave from Talabana Architect to weigh in on that because I know we looked at this ADA accessible issue quite closely and I don't think moving it to the west was an option, but Dave, correct me if I'm wrong. I know from our pump station access, we're pretty limited. And then that other area back there, I think we had a conflict there. Can you speak to that?
Yeah, this is David Veneta, Tolaban Architects. Doesn't look like my camera's on, but I apologize. Hopefully you can hear me.
we can hear you.
There really isn't room for an ADA parking space back there, in part because the code requires a minimum 5-foot landscape buffer. Robert can confirm this, but between any parking lot and a building. So the area where currently we have a hedge noted as to be removed would still require a 5-foot landscape buffer in addition to the 18-foot deep ADA parking space and access aisle. So I don't have a dimension from the existing restroom building to the west property line, but I can tell you just comparing the existing ADA parking to the area that's available there, we do not have room for relocating it, unfortunately.
Well, we could tear down the women's bathroom and then have plenty of room to put the ADA parking in a safer place.
Can we revisit the
Um,
green space too? I'm sorry, I need to
Um,
refresh here. So we're taking out the shore pine for the new installation. I understand why. And then there will be new hydrangeas planted along the buildings, the new buildings, correct?
Both.
Well, right. And then is there any additional green space added, or is there space to add anything
The bench, we want to put the bench back.
on a green?
The artistic bench that was donated to city. We just had that redone last year because the coating on it was failing. And so the budget committee awarded money to be able to have that redone. And so that's new again.
Okay.
So we want to make sure we have the space for that.
Yeah. Is there any other opportunity in the area you think to improve the landscape? I just feel like it's such a high traffic area that things just get trashed with people walking to and
Right.
from. I know those bushes are sturdy, but it is quite a loss to lose the pine. Is there another opportunity there?
Elk like to eat the hydrangea too.
Is native, yeah?
Well, if we don't put there's a possibility that there's less of a footprint if there's just
Less of a footprint,
women's restroom
right?
and I mean, I don't know, obviously, but it does seem like the shore pine's closer to the ADA parking spot. So I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to look at an overview.
Not able to increase the number of fixtures from what we have today. We were trying to double it, but we just didn't have the footprint to be able to do that. But cost wise, it doesn't make sense for the city to remodel the bathroom if we're not able to achieve the number of fixtures. And then we go back to the rented porta potties out front. And so this is why the design is we were trying to get as many fixtures in there as we possibly could and achieve the required space that we're held to.
I know, but that men's edition, I mean, it's basically, it's like one ADA stall, 2 urinals and 3 sinks. And I just, for the cost, I'm saying 250,000. And then the women's has 3 sinks and how many stalls? 4 stalls.
Yeah. It's redundant.
It just seems like there's a better way to design and implement. I mean, a project that is likely to become a village landmark. It's midtown and a lot of people use that and
I mean, it feels like a waste of space. There's one,
Yeah.
It's redundant in my opinion.
Now, I do have to point out, excuse me, that evaluation of the interior of the structure is not within the purview of the board.
Okay.
We are looking at the aesthetics of the outside, so we are looking at the site layout, the architectural design externally, and the landscaping.
Okay.
So who decides the interior design?
The interior is the applicant's purview.
I can't forget that there's,
Well, the architectural,
That would be really something, and I'm gonna, Karen, step in if I'm wrong, but I think that would be something more for the public works.
would the architectural just footprint based on the design be within our realm then? Since this is quite a footprint,
so, and the fact that there's 2 of them,
That would fall under the site plan.
yeah. Yeah. I think that's what we're.
so the fact that we know that there's 2 and they're outside, they're shingled, we know that, but there's 2 of them
Yeah, there would be,
and we don't like how big the footprint is.
And they're
So-
taking out all the green space. the
Yeah,
trees,
yeah.
And putting a hydrangea.
I mean,
It just seems like the design review board should be doing better.
We're not just.
With $250,000 instead of just
Right.
putting an outhouse, basically.
I think our goal that we're talking about is just using, if there are going to be 2 new structures to improve this, like congestion in the bathrooms here, is looking at the plan, the site plan more conclusively and the footprint that is leaving, and is it the most effective beyond the aesthetics? which are very important, but this is deeply affecting the aesthetics of Midtown because there'll be two new structures, which I totally sympathize with the reason why. We don't want to go to be stuck with the porta potties and all of that. That's also an eyesore. And no, I don't think anyone likes to use porta potties, but yeah, I think that's what we're talking about here. And that there might just be a more effective way with Michelle introducing the idea, and we could take it to the council of a more gender fluid, gender inclusive, or family kind of style bathroom that might maybe have more space, would reduce having two big units with such little capacity for people. Like what is most efficient and less disruptive to the landscape there and the overall site plan. So in my mind, I don't approve the site plan.
Okay, we're going to get to that. First, we're going to see if there are any presentations by proponents. None noted, so we will ask, are there any presentations by opponents?
Harvey has his hand up.
Oh, I'm sorry, Harvey? Yes.
Yes, thank you. I had a couple things. One, the shore pine, it seems like it also might interfere with the foundation. Otherwise, you certainly could revise some plumbing fairly easily and keep that tree in place. And the more trees you can keep in that area, the better. But it looks like more of a foundation interference. Did I understand from the discussion that the trash container is not to be restored?
I missed that.
I'm sorry, what was that?
I'm trying to understand.
Sorry, Harvey, it's a bit hard to hear you.
The trash container is not going to be restored is what I understood, but I'm not sure.
Yeah. Will the trash container be replaced?
We had not planned to do that. I'll take a look at it. If it's in disrepair, most certainly. We do that seasonally. Kurt goes and takes any of the ones that are in disrepair out and we replace it with one that's been recladded, but it would be our standard Cannon Beach wood and metal bathroom, trash container.
Oh, yeah,
I think what he's asking is it going to be moved somewhere else on the site because you show it.
The drawing shows removed trash container, but there's no drawing I see that shows it replaced.
It shows that this plan shows that the trash can is being removed, but is it going to be repositioned somewhere else, I think is.
Yeah, the trash container that's there, it will remain on that site. We may have to reposition it based on the changes in the landscape, but that location will still have a trash can.
Great. The importance is going to be even greater with more people going there. All right. Then I had a couple other questions. Since the public will be seeing the interior of this, does that alter at all the board's responsibility as far as the interior of the building? I'm new, so I just don't know.
I think he's asking if we could talk about the interior.
Yeah, as far as for the DRB, we're less concerned with the interior.
I don't think we have any.
Yeah, and you say as far as like the aesthetics and things like that, what us three have been discussing is more of the site plan and just how the interior, the architectural layout is affecting the plan. But no, we don't discuss the interior.
And even if the public is going to be in there.
Oh, even if the public is going to be in it.
That's where I'm wondering
That's
if
tough. That's a good question.
the art commission, the Tourism Art Commission could partner in this, and they could be the ones that could design the interior to be
A destination,
a destination.
a destination toilet.
I don't know how involved the members of the DRB were in the transportation plan, but one of the things that was very much requested by the public was another bathroom in the Midtown area or somewhere between the Haystack Stairs and Midtown. And because we're very limited on where that additional bathroom would be, when Dave and I worked on this another reason why we really tried to maximize the number of fixtures and keep the cost of the project in check as much as we could, knowing that we didn't really have another place to put another bathroom, but the public was feeling the need was there, the community. And obviously nobody likes to see those porta potties sitting out there, you know, so I really appreciate the input you guys have given. Even though the interior is not your purview, I will talk to Dave and see if there's any option that maybe we overlook hearing your input tonight, and see if there's an opportunity there. Okay,
Great. Thank you.
cool, welcome.
Thanks.
So,
He had to just step out one.
staff response. Should we wait or
What was,
any additional statements? I think Jan, actually, you had your hand up. I'm sorry.
So I'm Jan Siebert Warmond, PO Box 778, Cannon Beach. I just wanted to ask, and I guess I have to wait for Robert, or maybe Karen, maybe you know, but was the city arborist involved in the planning at all?
We would have him do a tree evaluation before we did anything to remove it. But
he wasn't involved in the site plan.
arborist wouldn't help design the site plan, no.
But sometimes he does come in when there are private homes being designed for a site. And then he helps maybe shift things a little bit, depending on where the roots are and how that might impact the roots better if it was shifted a little bit to one way or the other. I'm just wondering if there's a way for this beautiful shore pine to be saved. I think we've lost.
Well, I was wondering if it could be moved, if we could just dig it up and then put it somewhere.
I don't know if it's that.
Know that it would
that
be
it's
possible,
it's a
right?
Really small tree.
It's bigger, yeah.
But I think, I just wish in this town that we could have more money for the city arborist in cases such as this, where if the city arborist could be consulted before the plan is put together by the architect, we could save, I think, more trees. And I just wish we could do that more. So,
Duly noted.
yeah.
And it is very common that architects would work with arborists or other, botanists in the area and things like that. So I think the integration in this town of nature versus development would be incredible. So, yeah, very heard.
We really have a good city arborist. So anyway, that would be my ask is if things are going to go back to the drawing board a little bit, if we could get him involved as well and just see if there's any possible way to save that shore pine.
So good, and Jan's input is very well received. A good example is our 2 pump stations where we're doing building ads. We have more footprint room to work with than we do here. And so point well taken, we do have trees that we asked as far as positioning and the infrastructure that's in the ground. But that's Siuslin Midway and the building footprint was more available to us than what this is. I mean, we're pretty much pinned in here. It's not a tax lot. It's, as you see on the plan. So we're pretty restricted. But we would most definitely get an arborist report and have him be able to say that the replanting of moving that as an option, or if it's not, would there be something we could do to prevent that from having to come out?
All right. Any other discussion? Eric? Yes.
Sorry, I probably should have spoke at the proponents portion, not the opponents of this. Eric Ostrander, PO Box 97. I think this is awesome. I think this meets something that that's in the TSP for promoting like more walkability and stuff here in the Midtown area. So having bathrooms that are actually nicer and clean and all that stuff is something that I think it's definitely something that's going to be great for this area. There are a couple things that I saw in the plans that might not be, I'm not sure if they're not included because it's a rough sketch, but the drinking fountains, I thought it's kind of a missed opportunity to have a bottle refill station. One of those drinking fountains with bottle refill, kind of to promote the environmental aspect of Cannon Beach. People are coming down, they're riding the bus down, stuff like that. They have a bottle of water rather than carrying extra plastic and all that stuff out onto the beach, something like that to add to the thing. And I saw that's on the outside of the building. So I kind of assumed that was within the DRB's purview to kind of look at and discuss. And then the other thing, I think Michelle brought it up, was having lockers that would, again, promote some of the ideas that are in the TSP about promoting people coming down the bus, not coming down with their car. So they have some place to put stuff when they get down here. So if they bring down too many towels or whatever, they can have like pay lockers or something that are attached in some fashion, which the building, you have the offset for the new addition that's offset, what was it, like 6 feet, 4 feet or so?
Yeah, 4 feet.
Would potentially be enough space to fill that space with pay lockers that some fashion, but those are the two comments. But overall, I think it's great to get more bathrooms, more fixtures in total in this area. And I think that can just lead to, in general, them being cleaner because they're not getting so overused as heavily as they are right now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Oh, great.
Bottle refill station.
Yes.
Smart.
All right. All right. Do we need to continue the hearing or can we make a motion?
Continuing the hearing is an option. So right now you do have the option of either introducing a motion to either approve or deny, or you can, if the board chooses, continue this to next month.
Mhm.
Oh,
Well,
continue then.
Yeah, I mean, where are we sending you if we say that this isn't quite, I mean, what does that do for you? I mean, do you go back to the drawing board, you go back to city council and say?
I would have to go back to council and let them know that I need more funds to redesign this if it's even possible.
Okay.
Start with us. It seems like go to us first, like, I don't know, sorry.
No, that's because now we're giving them the idea.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think honestly, we have exhausted our design options as far as achieving that maximum fixtures. And like I say, I'm happy to talk to Dave and see if there's some way that we can carve out that all-inclusive area that you're talking about. And then as far as the pay lockers that Eric, I think that's something we could look at in next year's budget as an add after the fact. We'll have to get the cost for that and explore how we deal with the pay and the maintenance of those and whatnot. So I'll have to investigate that a little bit, but there's definitely room. That's something we could add after the fact. And then the bottle refill station is definitely something I think within this budget, we could manage that.
So I guess I'm wondering then, I mean, you're not really having any maintenance issues or trouble with the lines in a way, and that's because
They are.
it's in the summer
It's,
or
yeah,
it's old pipe.
fixtures and our maintenance in our budget.
Shouldn't that
Bathroom is
base?
high.
I mean, shouldn't it be replacement if it's a constant problem? To me, we should replace and improve.
Right. That's the goal.
Which means more money. So then I'm wondering if we want to take it to the point of, you know, really making the best building out of that property and asking council for more money to make a better bathroom. If it's
Maybe those lockers
priority,
need some
right?
money.
The lockers pay for the.
Here.
Well, yeah, I'm thinking a full-on remodel of the whole area. As a way to make it a all-inclusive really nice building.
Mhm.
And then maybe by that time, we can see if we can move the ADA parking off of the sidewalk.
Flatten the whole
And
thing.
then also see if maybe we can get some local artists to help design the building, like they did with the chamber. I mean,
I know, I'm not trying to be, but just this feels like the status quo, like, and not,
Right.
like, I keep reading the purpose of the design review and it's to encourage originality and creative design, architecture and landscape design. I'm just making sure, like,
Right.
and this feels status quo, no offense. Like, but it's
And
just
it
like,
feels, I think what we're talking about, and I know that the city, there's issues that need to be addressed and problems that like, that's how these come to us. But I think it is our job to think of something that is long-term and like, we're not having a reactive solution, like we need more bathrooms. So let's put 250K into it and put new bathrooms there while the other ones are becoming dilapidated. And just thinking, what is the long-term plan? How can we be like a nature forward or environmental city that does design architecture around trees? And that's really interesting. How can we be progressive in creating gender inclusive bathrooms and really utilizing the space so that there is still room for landscape and things like that? And then maybe thinking of a long-term plan, like Eric mentioned with the lockers, like that could generate revenue for maintenance on this structure.
Mhm.
And it's like, that's kind of my mind, that's our job as a city to think like how that functions and making sure we're not putting dollars in a way that's just this kind of quick fix on
I absolutely agree, Jen. Absolutely agree.
So, and we don't want to add on more cost. I know there's a lot of work that's gone into this and have to add costs and things like that, but I think we're just being responsible in that way. So, yeah. It's hard.
So I understand. So there's not a concern about the outside aesthetics or landscape. It's more just the function of the inside and the
I think it's
no, I think it's
No.
outside.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's the site plan.
yeah, I mean, I think
the
it's,
function of the site plan.
Yeah.
And architecture.
yeah,
Right. The DRB is not only responsible for, is it cedar shingles or like, it's funny that this committee has been positioned like that, but that's not the intent of the committee, right? So it is the larger footprint and how things are designed, truly. Like design is a pretty broad term, but architecturally, I think it's not to the standards that and the ideals that we're putting forward in the city. And that's where we're at.
All right, then. Gentlemen, you're not here. Is there anything that you want to say?
No, we're good. We were checking to make sure because we work at the property behind, so we want to see if it was going to affect us at all.
Yeah,
we have the partners trying to see if we're concerned the porta potties are coming back.
We'll get rid of those.
We don't want them
Build
to.
this.
Who wants?
See which
Won't have a
smell
choice.
and others. I mean, we were just, we
I'm
had
say I'm
some-
sorry now.
No, we were concerned about, obviously some of the plumbing and other things that run to the restaurant and the hotel through there to see if there was any impact for guests that we should be planning for. Shutdowns. So-
we just tell everybody to go to the bathroom there.
Is it, well, do you get overflow there asking for, you get a lot of overflow? Yeah,
And we just gotta direct them over to the public restrooms, so.
yeah.
We get people sneaking in the swimming pool all the time.
Yeah, and specifically the restaurant is where the majority of the overflow goes in. I think people try to, come in there and change and there are lots of other stuff.
Right.
huh.
Changing rooms.
Changing rooms.
Especially in the summer, with kids and beach and.
Yeah.
Right.
And then
Yes.
where they get in their cars, they want to get it all off.
Yeah,
They clog our
shower.
with the sand.
Yes.
Especially need rinsing.
Change these fixtures.
I know, yeah.
Harvey, you have your hand up.
Oh,
Yeah.
Harvey.
I guess I would echo some of what I've been hearing here, that this is a public building. It seems like design review would should exercise a little more ability than they would with a private structure where the public's not going to be inside. Also, this is a good space for a bathroom maybe budget shouldn't preclude really getting a lot of performance out of it. And so I think it's well, and maybe well worth revisiting. On the other hand, as an expedient, we need more restroom space this coming summer, and so maybe the $250,000 should be spent now, and we should take a much longer look at using this space in a better way.
Harvey, I don't know.
You know,
Well, thank you, Harvey.
I think he's just saying it needs more to be looked at closer.
Yes.
As a public space.
Okay, I agree.
one of the advantages of the design as presented is that it looks to me like you could keep the existing restrooms operating during the construction of the new portion, which would be a big advantage.
Yeah.
Yes. That's correct.
I think we're kind of getting carried away here that this is turning out to be a lot more than a public restroom. We're not going to win any design awards with it. It's a functional building. We need more capacity, and the design as presented does that. It does it expediently. I'm not sure it bears any major effort to redesign it at this point. That's my opinion.
Well, thank you for that. Well,
If you all want to table it till next month, I won't object, but I'm not sure why.
What happens with tabling it? Like you go back and ask for more money or?
Generally, things get continued if there is an identified need for additional information. For example, with planning commission, we will have applications for, say, setback reductions, and maybe we need some additional design information, arborist information, something like that. So typically there is a specifically identified need that the board or the applicant has identified that has come up during the meeting. And as a result, it's decided that there isn't sufficient information to make a decision without that information.
Okay, I get that.
well, I don't know that we're going to have more information. It
Yeah.
seems like where we're at is that the site, the way that it's being presented, the site plan isn't working for some of us. And
I don't like what Jen said too. Yeah.
I totally agree with Jen. So that's, Dave and Harvey, I think, feel that it's a needed.
So I have Dave here from Talabana Architects. So some questions you'd like to ask Dave. Because at this point, I have to be honest with you, I don't even know where to start. I don't have any more architect funds. So I'd have to go to council and say, I'm not sure why it was rejected, other than you're not feeling that the design is the best use of this space.
An issue.
And so, but I'm not really sure what I'm doing to try to change that.
This is an issue we're having in the DRB process. It's like when people are coming to approve the design of something and there's no more funds in case the design review board was to go back and say, it's plastic, we can't have that sign, like whatever it is. So it's interesting that things are coming at the end of the road here.
I know.
We have
always just end up.
we have issues with what's going on and just, yeah, this is an interesting flare in the process.
So I offer Dave for you guys to ask questions to, so that he even knows what he's trying to do for us. I don't think he or I, either one, know what we're supposed to be doing to maybe meet your expectations.
And I think that we're kind of trying to figure out what we're supposed to be doing that is representative of the citizens of Cannon Beach as the design review board for a very public restroom that I think we're seeing an opportunity to make it into a world-class restroom. I mean, you can laugh at that, but just for definition, just something that is more progressive maybe, or
Yeah,
I agree.
updated, and that there would be funding some.
I would love to see it be like.
I agree. And
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't.
I think that,
A beautiful tree and.
I think those suggestions should,
That really represents Cannon Beach and says that we care about the people that are coming here to use our restroom. You know, and maybe they'll be more respectful because it does have care and
As we respect
thought,
them.
you know, that went into the design. And I'm curious to see what council would come back to Design Review Board with, to say that we don't think that it warrants any additional funding. You know, we don't agree with what your vision is. So either take what the city is proposing or not.
Right.
And hopefully, you know, for me, be able to explore
think we
something more along the lines.
be able to address some of the items that you guys spoke of and that were given by the public.
to city council.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think it could be taken back to them.
I don't know. I can't say I'd do a complete overhaul of the design, because like I say, I think we're pretty stuck.
There's not much space to, but with a few considerations. And I think like even the gender or inclusive bathrooms, it's like, how many tourists come through here? How many people live here that?
well, usually with that
Offensive,
too,
right?
in the research looking at this, usually with that, the hand washing station's outside.
Right.
Like it says, so like, but I mean, this is not up to us because we're not interior, but like.
Well, and see, and that's where I'd almost, because there are maintenance issues continually, it sounds like, as I would just like to redo the
I know.
whole thing. You know, and just get all new.
This will address those issues for sure.
Toilets, the urinals, the sinks.
Get the
And
tack involved.
just make it, yeah.
Yeah, that's what this does, is it addresses all that, is completely replace all the fixtures and try to get
I didn't see that. I just,
a bathroom that's not a water conserving bathroom. And so, you know, we want to move in that direction,
Mm,
and we have the funds to do that.
but just putting a new urinal, is that going to take care of the piping that is having problems?
Everything will be
System?
low water consumption, just like our other bathrooms.
Well,
All right, so moving right along here, I guess. So, staff, Dave or somebody might need a little bit of direction on what we're doing. Do we want to make a motion? Do we want to table? Do we want to continue? Are those the options at this point?
I will go out on a limb and say I'd like to make a motion to deny this plan,
Deny the site plan.
a site plan, and have,
Considerations are.
yeah, better use of, I know that they're packing it in, but better use of the footprint. I don't know, to make it,
All right, so there is a motion to deny the site plan. A second,
Second.
on favor? Aye.
Harvey.
I got Harvey.
Gentlemen?
Oh, he silenced himself. Wait, did you say something, Harvey?
Hi, I was muted. Sorry. I will attend next time.
Okay.
I will say nay.
All right, so we have,
Close.
I think what we're looking at here is either go along with this, at least general version of this plan, or get used to Santa cans. Because the site is not gonna support the world-class restroom that some of you envision.
This be a culturally relevant one.
Dream big.
all right.
We're close. I think
So
considerations that were done.
next, is there a motion to approve the architectural design? Discussion.
Oh, you keep going?
I thought we did it all.
Okay,
The site plan and the architectural design,
well, that doesn't, so.
You can't have one without the other.
Yeah.
right? Well,
Yeah, so I make a motion to deny the architectural plan.
Second.
I like that I just looked at you.
Favor, aye.
Hi.
Nay,
Okay. Dave's the naysayer. Okay. And lastly, is there a motion to approve the landscape design? Which I guess
Denied.
we just kind of all goes together.
Your turn.
Well, I deny the, how do I say?
Make a
What?
motion to,
You're gonna,
Deny the land.
I second.
okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Gentlemen,
Harvey said it.
Harvey, Dave.
nay,
Okay. All right. And with that, we are on to motion for the chair to sign the appropriate orders.
There are no orders
Oh,
with a denial.
okay. What would orders be for?
So that would be if it was approved, then there's a orders related to the approval.
I see. Okay. And any good of the order? Harvey, Dave?
I think it's nice that we have a new member.
Yes.
I look forward to meeting him next month.
Yes.
Or maybe we should get together for a beer somewhere in between.
There you go.
Are you inviting all of us, Dave?
Well, I don't know. You guys are kind of hard to get along with tonight.
Oh, no,
It was on our side.
now. It's just,
Okay.
all right.
If nothing else,
If there's nothing,
I think we should have Mike out for a beer to celebrate
Yes,
his
I asked
departure.
him. He said no.
Yeah.
well, maybe he's watching on YouTube. Hi, Mike.
He's probably, no way.
All right, if that is everything,
Welcome, Harvey. Congratulations,
Yes.
Dave.
hopefully we
I
see you
move
next
we
month.
adjourn.
All right, meeting adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
Night.